Do you start healthy habits but then find yourself quitting only a week or two later? I used to be the same way. I was a tired, overweight, brand new father. I had zero energy and very little motivation. But now I'm 40 years old and I'm in the best shape of my life. In today's video, I'm going to share with you the 7 steps that I use to build healthy habits that actually stick. And be sure to stay around for the end of the video for step number 6. It's the real game changer. I'm Cole Sweeney, and I help busy dads just like yourself build muscle, lose fat, and feel unstoppable with simple, sustainable, science-backed fitness techniques that you can implement seamlessly into your everyday life. Okay, let's dive on in. All right, so step 1 is start small. Start tiny if you need to. Start so small that you can't say no. Okay, now why is this, you ask? Because small wins builds confidence, and confidence will build your momentum. Okay, a specific example of this is maybe you haven't worked out in a while and you want to start getting into it. So instead of committing to like a full hour every day after work, that might be a little bit daunting. That might not be something you can stay consistent on. Commit to just 10 minutes, 10 minutes right when you get home from work. You know, everyone can do that. We all have, you might be a busy person, but I'm sure you can find 10 minutes of your day to work out. Okay, so that's a good habit to start off with. Pick one habit a week is what I would do, and start small. Something that you can easily incorporate, something that you can easily stay consistent on. Okay, you can start small and then scale your habits. So for this week, pick one habit you want to start with and start small and commit to that habit. Okay, for step 2 is I want you to be specific. You should be able to write your habit down in one clear and concise sentence. Now, why is this, you ask? Because vague goals lead to vague results, but clear, specific goals make your daily decisions seem pretty much just automatic. Okay, an example of this would be instead of just saying you want to eat better throughout the week, that's not specific enough. That's pretty vague. So think of specifically like the time of day, the types of food you should be eating. So you could say something like, for the next 7 days, every morning for breakfast, I will eat a high protein, low carb diet consisting of, you could say like eggs, protein smoothie, and almonds on the side, you know, something like that. But that's very specific, and that's something you can remember, and it makes you do it every day. Okay, so use that. I would say write it down. Use it down. I will blank, and fill in the blank with the healthy habit that you want to start doing for the next 7 days. Okay, write it down. Put it somewhere that you will see it every day. I would say preferably the refrigerator, and that'll help you out being clear and specific with your habits. Okay, so step 3, this is a big one, is I want you to anticipate times of resistance throughout your day and to plan accordingly. Okay, anytime you're starting a new habit, you can't just expect yourself to succeed just by sheer willpower alone. Okay, you need to understand there's going to be times of weakness, and you should plan for that. You should be proactive in your planning. Okay, so the idea behind this is a lot of times temptation just follows everyday habits and routines. The way to kind of get around this or to change the bad habits in your life is to have an if-then statement. So for me, when I started, one of the first habits I started was that I wanted to go without eating added sugar in my diet. And the hardest time for me in my day was right after dinner. I had been for years used to having a dessert after dinner. So that was when my sweet tooth was at its worst, was right after dinner time. I expected that little treat every day. And so I knew that was going to be a problem for me. And so I had a plan in place. And so if this is the same for you, it could be something as simple as like an if-then statement. So you could say something like, so if I crave dessert after dinner, then I will drink a protein smoothie instead, or eat a handful of almonds instead. Okay, but have some kind of substitute for that treat that you're used to. That will help you overcome your bad habit and start forming your better habit. So do this for this week. Whatever your new habit is, anticipate what are maybe 2 or 3 times of weakness that you feel like you may fail in that habit. Okay, and I want you to write down those times of weakness, and for each one, write out an if-then statement. If this happens, then I will do this instead. All right, step 4 is a bit of a continuation of step 3, and I call it the power of the pause. And it goes back to that famous quote about stimulus and response, that between every stimulus and response, there's a space, and in that space is our power. Okay, and so with this pause, this is our way of taking control of our situation, the times in our day when we're maybe at our weakest, when our old habits might have sunk back in. Okay, and the way it works is this: anytime a cue overtakes you, or anytime a craving overtakes you, take a breath and maybe pause for about 3 to 5 seconds and name what that craving is. You could say, oh, this is my sweet tooth, or oh, this is my laziness when I get home from work when I told myself I was going to exercise. Name the craving and take a pause, and then you might be able to better control the situation, and you can align your response to the habit you're wanting to form. right? So do this for this week. Try to every day identify at least one time where a craving overcomes you, and pause for about 3 to 5 seconds and name what that craving is. And try to make sure that your response is in alignment with your goal. All right, so for step 5 is I want you to start off each day by naming your intentions. And what this will look like is that I want you to spend at least maybe like 2 minutes journaling or naming out what are your goals for the day. Okay, and this is a time where you're reminding yourself about the healthy habits that you have promised to yourself, the habits you are sticking to. And it could be a time of journaling where you're writing out your goals. It could be a time of meditation where you're just kind of quiet with your thoughts and your intentions for the day. This helps you remind yourself what it is that you are doing. It helps you let yourself know that you mean business, that you're sticking with your habits, and it helps reemphasize what your goals are for the day. Okay, so for step 6, it is extremely subtle, but if it's done well and it's done consistently, it can totally reprogram your sense of identity for yourself. Okay, and what it is, it's a small shift in language at times in your day from saying the words I can't to the words I don't. Okay, and usually this is in times in your day when maybe you're offered a cookie or a piece of cake, and say that like your habit you're trying to change is you've eliminated sugar from your diet. So for me, back in the day when I tried to start cutting sugar, there were times where I was offered stuff at work and with family, and I would say things like, oh, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't do that. And when I said that, it just kind of made me feel a sense of powerlessness. I felt like a victim, kind of like, oh, this guy on YouTube told me not to eat sugar, so I can't eat sugar. And so instead of doing that, I learned that if I said instead, I don't eat cake or I don't eat sugar, you don't have to be a jerk about it. You can thank them and doing everything. But if instead you say the words I don't, that reinforces to yourself that you mean business. It kind of helps you remind yourself that this is your decision, that you're in control of your actions, and that the decisions you're making are in alignment with your goals. Okay, so try this. Try it once a day if you can. Whenever you're offered something that you know is against your habit, instead of saying the words I can't, say the words I don't, and see how that makes you feel. Okay, so for step 7, our final step is to be kind to yourself and to learn from your failure. So slips happen. We all make mistakes, right? Nobody's perfect. And so the key here is to not let your mistakes get the best of you, right? Don't fall apart every time you make a mistake. Don't throw your week away. Treat it as a learning experience. Okay, so what I would recommend for you to do anytime you make a mistake on a habit, if you slip, you do something you told yourself you weren't going to do, try to take a pause, take a few minutes and write down what was it that got you? What was the reason why you made the mistake? Okay, so maybe it was the cue, the stimulus that got you. And so identify what that was, and maybe try to think of what could you do to change the situation for the better next time. Ultimately, with all these habits, is you want to be kind to yourself and to learn from your failure. All right, so if you use those 7 strategies, you should be able to build some healthy habits in your life that actually stick. That's what I did when I transformed myself to the out of shape dad bod I used to have to the best shape of my life today. So go ahead and comment below, what are some small habits you are going to incorporate in your life this week? And if you like the video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.